Drink with me. Normally the theme and nothing changed. But yeah. How y'all doing? It's your man, Uncle Lane here. First of 3 events. Now, one might come later as far as Saturday Night main events, because like I gotta catch the latest, because like as I was watching, I was interrupted, so I couldn't really get into like the last parts of it. I will come back, after a while. It will be done before Evolution. Drink with me real quick. The Revolution. Screw the word. Yo, it is 5:56 in the morning. As soon as I got up, as of recording, took a leak and then dropped the StreamYard. So bear with me, y'all. Please bear with me. And that was the first thing I put in my stomach, libation or otherwise. So here we are. Interesting. Ish. Here's some interesting. Am I 2 minutes in? I am. Alright, y'all know the title. Here's some interesting shit that happened at NXT Great American Bash. Overall standing, I'll tell you right now, it's a must watch. Y'all can watch it. Y'all can watch it. Now, if y'all know me as a WWE main roster guy. Let me get this shit out the way real quick. AEW All In. No, I just saw a little bit of the pre-show, but I like the Von Erichs. Kevin's sons, you know what I'm saying? That I say this in passing because that's what I watched while the Thunderstorm was going on, and that came on before the pre-show of NXT Great American Bash. So I'll say that in passing. Now let's get to the show. I got extras with it too, but that'll be mentioned. Hopefully I can mention that while how that was going on. I'll try to keep it in with that. But as it goes, here we are. Now, yeah. You know how WWE does their shows right now. Show a bunch of wrestlers coming in. And NBA on NBC style. New show the stars coming in, and then let's get it on with the opens and all that other shit. Like I said, decent show. Alright, so they start with, as far as the matches are concerned, with Javon Evans versus Jasper Troy. Now, again, it's NXT, so people may not know about them, about the branded as a whole. So Javon Evans goes to the ring, you know what I'm saying? He's introduced first, the young OG, and this dude is amazing, y'all. He is amazing. You know what I'm saying? This cat is freaking 20, 21 years old. YOG, young OG, that's what they was popping all night for. You know what I'm saying? All afternoon for. So he's about to enter the ring, and he immediately pops the crowd. He didn't immediately pop, you know what I'm saying? Let me just set the stage for y'all. This the whole weekend's in Atlanta. You understand? The whole weekend's in Atlanta. So Javon Evans, realizing that, he comes out in a vintage Atlanta Braves Ronald Acuna Jr. Jersey. Crowd ate that shit up. Crowd ate that shit up. You know? So, so he knows he's he's a fan. He's a fan as well as a superstar. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? He knew how to pop the crowd, and the crowd popped majorly for him. They was not gonna stop chanting his shit. As he does. He's a face. And then Jasper Troy comes out, and let me just point this out right now. Booker T was off his fucking rocker all afternoon. Drink with me, bro. Drink with me, Booker T. Now y'all know how we call Hunter Papa H, because you know what I'm saying. He's running the company now, and he's really looking out for his people. Oh my God! As a subset, Booker T. He had a hand in, bringing, like, coaching and training certain superstars in NXT. If you watch NXT, you know who he had a hand in, you know what I'm saying, like coaching and training and all other good shit. Roxanne Perez can be one of them. You know what I'm saying? There's a backstory to that, because Booker T actually had Roxanne Perez under his wing in reality of wrestling. You know what I'm saying? I digress with that. Keeping in contention with this, Jasper Troy, and it was mentioned on the show, Jasper Troy won. LFG won. You know what I'm saying? That's basically tough enough. But yeah, it was mentioned. And Booker T was healing it up as anything else. You know what I'm saying? Let me just say this as a sidebar. I don't know how Vic Joseph can go on that goddamn show. Drink with me. I honestly don't know how he can do it. Because it was like you got Booker T. And Booker T, you know what I'm saying? It was like he was healing it up for the heels that he knew. But for him and Corey Graves to be up inside Big Joseph's ass all day. I mean, I enjoyed it. Because Booker T is funny as fuck. But you know what I'm saying? Graves could be annoying, but Graves is entertaining too. But alright, back to the match. So all that was mentioned, the match starts decent. And then it's like the whole point of the whole storyline was that Javon Evans was coming in less than 100%. And Jasper Troy was just looking to pick the motherfucking bone. So action spilled to the outside. You know what I'm saying? Because I only got key points. I'm not going to give it to you all the way. You know what I'm saying? Fair warning. So the action spilled to the outside. Again, less than 100% Javon Evans, because the storyline was he's coming in with fucked up ribs. And then what happens? Jasper Troy was working on the ribs. all the time. Like it was about like 75% of the match was Jasper Troy working on Javon Evans' ribs. But then eventually it went back to the ring early on. Botch alert, because there was one point in the match where Javon Evans, I put, you know what I'm saying? If you know me, you know I watch a lot of wrestling like videos and stuff like that, where one of them being Christian Miracle, and he points out obvious botches. But what's a wrestling event without obvious botches? One being Javon Evans with a devastating kick to the head. He went for like a enziguri. He went for like an enziguri, and it clearly missed. It clearly missed Jasper Troy's head. And it's like, you know what I'm saying? WWE, they really like, they pointed out now, you know what I'm saying? I was like, they didn't get all of it. That dude got none of it. I'm telling you. But as he did get none of it, he's clutching his ribs. Javon Evans know how to sell. Get it untwisted. Because he sold his ribs the whole match. Maybe except for one spot where when he did like a dive over the top rope to the outside, but he knows how to sell. That one thing notwithstanding, but yeah. And where are my notes? Okay. Yeah, there was one point in the match where it was like Jasper Troy, like I said, Javon Evans is selling the ribs. And it's like one point being that Troy would do a front and back splash. Meaning he ran the ropes, hit a front splash. He wasn't relenting. He went to the ropes again, did a back splash because, Javon was still selling. It's like he clutching the shit, and then he rolled over, near fall, and then that was basically the storytelling throughout the whole match. You know what I'm saying? Jasper Troy just dominating, and the crowd, like I said, the crowd eating it up. NXT, but it's like the more that Jasper Troy was dominating Javon Evans, the crowd was giving Troy heat. Jasper sucks. Young OG basically is the chant for Javon Evans. And then Javon Evans would eventually come back, but a lot of his you know what I'm saying? He came back a few times in the match, and getting the crowd hype. But Jasper Troy, because he's 320 pounds, and Javon Evans is like 180, classic David versus Goliath match. Every time Javon Evans came back, and it's like a lot of people don't do this nowadays. And to see this dude 20 years old, like really understanding the business, is crazy. Because it's like every time he came back, he still sold his injury. You know what I'm saying? And Jasper Troy ended up coming back whooping his ass. So Javon did some botches too. Not only the botched enziguri, but there was a point in the match where it was like he was trying to do like a springboard. I don't remember if it was like a kick or not. I just put my notes bot springboard. But he ended up it was a bot springboard going to a reversal into a German, but Troy ended up stopping the offense too. Then he put he was doing his signatures on Javon Evans to a point where he went for the finisher, his finisher, Troy's finisher, you know, and then Evans reverses it into the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment. Shouts to Simon Miller. A surprise roll-up for the win. So, the end result, Javon Evans defeats Jasper Troy. And Jasper Troy looked like he wanted to just bum rush the referee into going out and trying to attack post-match, but nah, that didn't happen. Referee was holding him back. Your winner for match 1 of the Great American Bash, the young OG, and the crowd was loving it, Javon Evans. Now, as far as the rest of the show is concerned, because matches are booked the way they are booked, vignettes had to be played because it's NXT. It's NXT. We want y'all to watch on Tuesday. So, first of the vignettes, I got them on extras. You know what I'm saying? I was writing my ass off. You know what I'm saying? So it's like most of the extras that was going on, like inside commercial breaks, it was like, you know, because I was watching on Peacock. The main thing that they wanted to pay attention to was the destruction of the D'Angelo family. So, first one was Stacks. You know what I'm saying? Bragging / bitching about how Tony D'Angelo wasn't treating him right in the family, so it was like he figured he'd take over and try to crush the family from within. And Stacks, if y'all don't know, you should know, is the Heritage Cup champion. And he's going to bring prestige. He's going to make sure that is the championship. That's what a lot of people say. If you watch NXT, you know, as soon as people win the Heritage Cup championship, which is a basically fake-ass Stanley Cup, they're going to treat that as bigger than the NXT championship. First one mentioning like that being Charlie Dempsey. If you don't know who Charlie Dempsey is, that's William Regal's son. But you know, he goes in, he's like, oh, I got a list of people who don't wrestle no more or who are major sports stars. I'm gonna see who won, who I would pick to defend my championship against. So he goes in the studio he goes in the performance center like a dumbass and talk about how Matt Bloom, Albert, Tenzai, Sweet Tea, y'all old school, I'm old school. But the point of the matter is, he goes in to check in talking about, oh, you get to challenge me for the Heritage Cup. Matt Bloom looking at him like a fucking idiot. Like, what? He basically gave him the fucking Russell Westbrook meme. What? Bro, what are you talking about? He's like, nah, I don't know what you're talking about. This ain't happening. Oh, by the way, keep your head on the swivel. Because remember, he bought the Heritage Cup in the fucking hefty bag. No, he didn't. He didn't do it in the hefty. He had it visible. But you may as well would have had it in the hefty bag. You know what I'm saying? Dumbass me. Anyway. He said, keep your head on the swivel. And that notified him that something is missing. The Heritage Cup. So he starts spazzing. Who took my cup? Who took my cup? Who took my cup? You know? So after that vignette, stay tuned for more. You know what I'm saying? I kind of like where this was going because of the fact it's like, all right, you know how they're doing it in WWE as a whole. Everybody's not making the card, but everybody's staying relevant. So, drink with me real quick. So, like I said, it's like I love where this is going. On to match number 2. You got the NXT Women's North American title. You know what I'm saying? Sol Ruka defending against Izzy Dame. Now, you got a backstage interview, and Sol Ruka is carrying some gold. You know what I'm saying? If you don't know, you should know. Hell, I didn't know. I should have known. So you got Sol Ruka, and I'll preface it like this. Speed is a thing. Speed is a thing every Wednesday on X. You know what I'm saying? I don't watch that much, but because it's like that title changes hands with the men and the women all the time. I don't know who the men's champion is right now, but damn it, man, you knew who the Speed Women's champion was, and it's Sol Ruka, and she also happens to be Women's North American champion too. Let's get ready for the ride. Because the interview, because the backstage interview was like, Sol Ruka got a chance to be sold 3 belts. You know, more on that in a minute when we get to Evolution, but I mean, we won't go to Evolution yet, but she is part of the Fatal 4-Way for the Interbrand WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. Like I said, we'll get to that when, you know, we get to the Evolution review, which will be on Monday. Like I said, if you're looking for Saturday night's main event, again, I'll do it later on, before Evolution. That's a promise. But let's get back to this. All right, so you got the intros. Izzy Dame comes out, obviously Tatum Paxley, because the storyline goes Tatum Paxley always was conflicted because she always tried to be friends with people as a face, and Sol Ruka was one of them. But then she turned heel and was signed with Izzy Dame. And of course, Sol Ruka, I meant to tell y'all, was with Zarya, and that's her tag team partner for the, you know, tag team. Anyway, so pre-match assault, basically, when the bell rings, Tatum Paxley slaps Zarya. Instant distraction, going to the outside. It's like, yo, you know what I'm saying? It's like, so Ruben, like, yo, what the fuck you doing, bitch? So, as the referee is tending to who's not supposed to be involved in the match, Izzy Dame basically hit the D-Lo sky high, and if the referee was paying attention, Sol Ruka would have lost the belt right there. Near fall. You could have counted the fucking 12. But Ruka kicked out. You know? Action quickly spills to the outside. You know what I'm saying? Sol Ruka with a moonsault It was like one of those step up to the stairs type moonsault, and she kind of botched it because it's like I don't know who was like really to blame for the botch, but when Ruger hit the moonsault, her knee basically clocked Izzy Dame in the forehead. Hopefully she wasn't concussed. You know what I'm saying? Because it was type nasty. But you know the announcers, they didn't get all of it. You're right. They didn't get all of it. We know they didn't get all of it. But anyway, we I got back and forth match. Basically, after that, when the action spilled back into the ring, and then, like I said, I only put key points. I'm not gonna go all the time. You know what I'm saying? Then I would have had like 5 pages. I got 2. Okay. Anyway, you know, Izzy Dame, you know what I'm saying, hit a cold breaker from the top turnbuckle. Chef's kiss to that. You know what I'm saying? These chicks know how to wrestle, y'all. Near fall, of course. 1, 2, ooh, shout out to Simon Miller. And then, not to be shown up, so Ruka hit an X Factor from the top turnbuckle. Same turnbuckle, by the way. It was really working like, you know, one side of the ring, near fall. You know what I'm saying? Decent near fall because, you know what I'm saying, decent kick out. And then it was signature, it was like a signature thon. You know what I'm saying? Basically, everybody, you know what I'm saying, both females hitting signature on each other. Both females getting 1, 2 oohs and all that other shit. That's what I put down. Dueling signatures, dueling near falls. And then one part of the match, this was about to lead to the finish. So Ruka spears the shit out of Izzy Dame. And it looked like she had the match won. However, Tatum Paxley, here we go again, breaks up the pin by putting Izzy Dame's foot on the rope. And she momentarily takes Izzy Dame out of the ring to help her recover. But Zarya wasn't having that shit. She was like, enough is enough. So she spears the fuck out of Tatum Paxley outside the ring. And then as Izzy Dame was trying to break that up with Zarya, So Ruka drags her back into the ring, hits her finisher, the Soul Snatcher, and 1, 2, 3 retains the NXT Women's North American Championship. Yo, these females know how to wrestle, y'all. You know what I'm saying? The way they talking about how they got NXT got the deepest. Like, now again, you know I'm a main roster nigga, but drink with me. Hey, man. There you go. Now, they talk about how NXT got the deepest women's roster. I mean, let's put it like this. Who is going to disagree right now? I mean, just looking at it from that show alone, it's like, who's going to disagree with that? Just saying. But yeah, Sol Ruka retains. She still sold 2 belts. We'll see if she sold 3 belts. Well, tonight at Evolution, because I'm recording this on a Sunday, 6:25 in the morning at current time. Yeah, did we do extras for that? Yeah, they were still talking about the no, actually, because it was a women's match that just happened, so they started vignettes for You know what I'm saying? Keeping with the content, keeping with the subject was the NXT women. You know, so the spotlight was on them during like their little commercial breaks. Now it could have been longer. I don't know because I was watching this on Peacock. But yeah, they they was focused on how the women would fare at Evolution. You know what I'm saying? To put it all in a bubble, and I really don't mean to do that, but I don't want to go back and forth with it because they did vignettes for every break, and they showed Kalani Jordan being in the battle world. They talked about Blake Monroe, even though she had a match later on in the show. They was talking about Lash Legend, on how it was like Jada Parker, and how they talking about how they gonna win the battle royal and the challenge for the championship in Clash at Paris. You know what I'm saying? They showed a bunch of vignettes. I'm trying to boil it into one so I don't keep, y'all know what I'm trying to do. But as we go on, here's the NXT North American title, Falls Count Anywhere. Ethan Page, All Ego, defending against Ricky Saints. And I'll put it like this. I love shenanigans in my wrestling, so I'm gonna keep it twos with y'all. I love shenanigans in my wrestling. Now, while I couldn't get too excited, and here's the thing with me, I did get excited, but I couldn't get too excited because I'm writing this shit down. You know what I'm saying? I'm scripting this for y'all, so I did get excited for this though. You know, I just didn't, you know what I'm saying, invoke emotion on it. But I think this was match of the night. I think this was match of the night because you have to like really, you know what I'm saying? So it's like to enjoy a Falls Count Anywhere match, you really gotta involve yourself, if that makes sense. And after the introductions, pre-matches saw right away. Ricky Saints was pissed. It's like, yo, I'm gonna fuck you up. You know what I'm saying? It makes sense. It makes sense. It's a Falls Count Anywhere match. But yeah, pre-match is sold by Sync. You know what I'm saying? They wasted no time to involve the audience. They really didn't. That because the action is built to the outside mad quick. I wrote down, really didn't take long for rings. Because it didn't. You know what I'm saying? After Ricky Saint, you know what I'm saying, he really didn't give Ethan Page a chance to like take his belt off. And then dumped him to the outside. Is telling the story right away. You know what I'm saying? This is not gonna be one of those matches. It's not gonna be one of those Falls Count Anywhere, but the ending is gonna be in the ring. No, we fighting, motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? That's basically what, you know. What else I put down? Alright, so the fight goes to the outside. You know, went from ringside to the stand. It's like they went from ringside to the stands mad fucking quick. I kid you not. So after it goes from outside, they fighting along the stands. Then they go to the concourse, you know, where the stands are, the food and all that other shit is. Yeah. So they fight for a minute. Page eventually gets the upper hand and put Saints in a Boston Crab in the, you know what I'm saying, in the concourse hallway. You know, if you've been in arenas, you know what I'm talking about. Then it's like, you know what I'm saying, Page tried to weaken Saints with that. Then he tries to lawn dart him through the post, like in the post. But eventually Saints reverses and then puts, you know what I'm saying, puts Ethan Page through a table that was supposed to be like a merch table, I guess, in the concourse. And therefore with that one, because Saints tried to pin him. And then after a bunch of blows, you know what I'm saying, he fighting back and forth, they get back to ringside. And then I forget who introduced the chair, but eventually Ethan Page gets the chair, starts whipping Ricky Saints' ass with it to the point where he weakens his back, puts the chair around Ricky Saints' neck. Now storyline purposes, the announcers talking about how they, you know what I'm saying, how Page like injured Ricky Saints' neck. Macho Man Ricky Steamboat style without, you know what I'm saying, without the bell. So he whips Page, he whips Saints into the ring post, chair around neck and all that. So you know, Ricky Saints, of course, selling the neck. And then what else I got down? Alright. Backtrack and then fast forward again, because that wasn't the first weapon introduced. There was a kendo stick involved where it was like, I think it was Ricky Saints whipping Ethan Page's foot. I had to put it down in my notes because it was like, you know, other shit going on. I was trying to get to the main, but it's like, yo, if I'm gonna put every weapon in, which I basically had to do, don't forget that kendo stick. But then fast forward, after the chair situation, you know, Saints eventually recover while, you know, Ethan Page was trying to keep it going with the chairs. He whipped out the fire extinguisher, this Saints did, and calmed this dude down. And then after that, he uncovers a guardrail. Now, if you don't know, you should know that this whole event was in Atlanta. I mean, every event is in Atlanta this weekend for WWE. So Ricky Saints uncovers a guardrail Saturday night's main event style because, you know, they was next door. Because if you don't know, you should know. When NXT events happens, it happens in smaller venues, whereas the main roster gets the bigger venue. It's just a fact. So yeah, Ricky Saints introduces the guardrail, you know, but nothing wasn't being done right then and there, because Ethan Page was reversing whatever the fuck Ricky Saints was doing and introduces more chairs. Now remind you, Ricky Saints introduced the first chair. Ethan Page was introducing the rest of them. So he sits a couple of chairs back to back, and then backdrops Ricky Saints spine first onto the chairs. You know what I'm saying? Soften his ass up, right? And then goes on to suplex him on the guardrail. You know that guardrail was soft as fuck, because ain't no metal bending like that off a 200-pounder. Listen, I weigh 238 now, so you know what I'm saying? If it's that rigid, it's not gonna bend. You know what I'm saying? Another trope in professional wrestling. Anyway, there was a near fall, and then They start fighting again outside the ring. The action spilled to the outside, fight to the back in whatever rooms that there was. It would look like one was like a medical room, and then you got one of those rooms where it's like basically stock was concerned. However, crazy, you know what I'm saying? This is an interesting shit that happened. And, you know, here's what was interesting though. Ethan Page Irish whips Ricky Saints into Jasper Troy, who was in the back. So Jasper Troy, like, what the fuck, nigga? He ends up choke slamming Ricky Saints onto one of those metal loading dock cases, and then rolls him back to the wall. And then the announcer's like, "Oh, did Ethan Page know about it?" But it looked like he didn't know about it. But then it's like, all right, they go back to the entranceway because it's like them rooms was like connected to like one of those entranceway again, smaller venue in Atlanta. So they go back to the ramp. You know, they fighting each other, and I didn't write this down, but there was a move by Ricky Saints where it's like he did a signature, but using the referee as like a crutch, so to speak. It was decent, you know what I'm saying? And that was a near fall, but what I did write down was the finish. Ethan Page softened Saints up so bad injuries and all, so it's like he hit an Eagle's edge, Razor's edge, by the way, launching him off the ramp on the two tables, putting him through them both. 1, 2, 3. All Legal retains the NXT North American title. Yo, this was match of the day. We could talk about whatever. Because the other two matches that follow, good matches, but you know what I'm saying? Keeping up with the Joneses with WWE, they always treat their secondary titles better than, because again, workhorse titles, right? You gotta love DX. Drink with me. And the reason why I say you gotta love DX, because ever since Triple H took over the main roster and Shawn Michaels took over NXT, they always went. They're old school, y'all. They're old school. This is what I remember seeing as a kid. Where it's like, yeah, the main title was the goal, but them secondary titles, man, they go hard. They go hard. And that North American title, you know what I'm saying? Ricky Saints and Ethan Page went hard for it. I applaud them. I do applaud them. I definitely applaud them. For real. Alright, so then what was they talking about? They went for the women again. But after that, you know what I'm saying? I gotta put over this. They went for the women, you know. But let me backtrack for a second just to keep with which I, you know what I'm saying, which I may want to watch. The first extra was Stacks in his, you know what I'm saying, how his Heritage Cup got missing. Then they was talking about Lola Vice. how she's gonna be in Evolution. Um, if I can get it correctly, Luca Crucible, Crucible, something like that. But yeah, talking about the there we go. Talking about the triple threat match. By the way, if you want to do that, yeah, I'm damn it, messing up my thing. But nice to know that that came out in like after 45 minutes. But if you want to do this, do that. But yeah. So they talk about Luca because, like I said, they're gonna do they're setting up a family business triple threat match for NXT on Tuesday, and I hope I can catch that. Oh, matter of fact, I probably won't be catching that because I'll probably be watching the MLB All-Star game. Well, I'll probably flick back and forth to that. We'll see. But that's just me. But most of the vignettes that they was featuring, it's like they showed Kalani Jordan. I mean, Jada Parker. Well, they did show Kalani Jordan later on. But they showed, it was like, I'm going to win the female battle royal or Evolution to fight for a championship at Clash in Paris. They showed Kalani Jordan, they showed Jada Parker, they showed Lash Legend. And I think that was it. Yeah, I think that was it. Alright, so we got the women finished. Alright, where we at right now? TNA title at Slammiversary contract signing. Now, if you don't know, you should know. And this is why I'm giving it to y'all. I don't know who peeked in to watch the live, but shouts to you. But yeah, so we got a contract signing mid-show, like, you know, because we had to do that. So they show Ava that's gonna preside it. You know what I'm saying? Ava the GM. You know what I'm saying? Baby Rock. You know? We used to call her the Pebble when she was little. But anyway, so Ava's in the ring. She's the Fed general manager. And she's presiding over the contract signing between Trick Williams, who's the champion. Who represents NXT, by the way. Against Mike Santana, who he's being portrayed as a TNA original. He's kind of is though, you know what I'm saying? He was in the company long enough. And then the third opponent, of course, is say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry. So Joe Hendry, you know what I'm saying? They all come out now. Not in that order. However, everybody gets a pop. Now, y'all know, of course, Trick Williams is a heel now, but whoop that trick. He still gets pops. And he reacts as a face still. Interestingly enough, you know, you got the TNA cats wanting to whip his ass because he don't belong in that company, but yet still has the belt. Mike Santana pops the crowd. He's like, yo, almost Conan style, if you know who Conan is. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, Atlanta, what's good? And then it's like, you know, Atlanta reacts because it's like, yo, yay, we're in Toronto, ain't you? Y'all know that bite. But anyway, he pops the crowd. You know I gotta watch my note. And it's like, he talks like a TNA original. It's like, yo, this company is this gold and all that other, you know what I'm saying? All that good shit. It's like, yo, this is what I'm about. I'm about TNA and I'm about the title. And I'm gonna get this, you know? I'm gonna beat your ass for the title. You know? And as I go in my notes, it's like I'm what you used to be, Trick, in NXT. They loved you, but it's like you know what you was about in NXT when you get championship, but you went soft. You went Hollywood. I think he's talking about the diss records in between, but it's like, you know, because that's what Trick does. He'll do diss records before he go in the pay-per-view events. Y'all gotta check that out. But anyway, he's like, call them Hollywood Trick or Trick Hollywood or whatever you like to call yourself. That's his word. And then he goes to Joe Hendry too. He's like, yo, I respect you for what you did. But right now, you know what I'm saying? Because it's a triple threat, you in my way. I gotta bring this back to I gotta bring it back to the roots. This is what Mike Santana said. I gotta bring it back because I am a TNA original. They're selling it like Mike Santana is an original. And I'll keep it tools with y'all. He kind of is. You know what I'm saying? More so than Joe Hendry. So that's where it was like, yo, I respect you. It's like, I respect you, but you know what I'm saying? You fighting for the same thing I'm fighting for, so you kind of in my way. So I gotta beat your ass. I'm gonna do that shit too. This is what he said. He ain't say beat your ass and do shit. You know what I'm saying? But y'all get the drift. You know? So Joe Hendry gets the mic, and he basically said, "It's like, all right, I see what you're saying, but I shouldn't have even lost the belt. I'm gonna reclaim what I should not have lost. You know what I'm saying? It's like I'm still the champ, but uncrowned because you know what I'm saying? That's the trope. That's the trope, y'all. And it's like Trick, cause he didn't go too hard on Joe Hendry. He didn't go too hard on Mike Santana. He was just saying, it's like, yo, I respect you too, but if it goes down to it, if I gotta fuck you up, that's gonna happen because you in my way right now. My title run was popping, and you got the, you know what I'm saying? If you got to go, you got to go. No love lost. I paraphrase that, but when he goes in on Trick, and he says, what have you done since you won the belt? All you did was hide behind niggas. He ain't say that, but it was like, all you did was hide behind people to retain. You're not gonna be able to do that. You always did it because you had people. You had help in NXT. You always had to do that in NXT. You're gonna be at Slammiversary, which is a TNA pay-per-view, and you ain't gonna have no Goon Squad behind you. You're gonna have to do this alone. Fair thoughts, you know what I'm saying? So, all right, cool. Then Trick grabs the mic, and he healing it up. He's like, yo, let me tell both of y'all something. Y'all just mad because I got the belt, and yeah, I did have help, and yeah, I ain't gonna have help at Slammiversary, but I'll still beat the fuck out of both of y'all. He didn't say beat the fuck out of both of y'all, but he's like, I don't need help to beat y'all ass. Because both of y'all are sore. Joe Hendry, you looking to reclaim what you did. Mike Santana, You trying to do this for your daughter. I was like, y'all, that made me want to beat the fuck out of Trick Williams. I'm like, yeah, why you put my daughter into this? You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I know you mad. I know you mad. You're gaslighting. Damn, you a modern female? Anyway, he said what he had to say. And then he figured it's like, everybody signed the contract. Everybody signed the contract. And Trick goes to leave. And then Joe Hendry grabs his arm like, yo, me and Mike may not agree on everything, but we both agreed on the fact that you're losing that title at Slammiversary. Then Joe Hendry and Mike Santana shield bombs Trick Williams through the table. Ava like, oh my god, why contracts I gotta go through this? You know? So that happens, and then for a moment, Joe Hendry and Mike Santana stands tall until nah, that's not how it goes. That was the White family joint. But let me backtrack for a second, because it wasn't the first time this happened. It happened backstage interviews. You caught the little deal, the interruption, but the interruption that happened during that time, it was real. It was Dark State. Dark State enters the ring, beats the shit out of Joe Hendry and Mike Santana. Point blank period. Scurrying out of the ring was Trick Williams just watching it. And then that was it. Fade to commercial. And that's when we go to the extras. Because before we get to the penultimate and eventual main events of the show, Ava announces that the Slammiversary main event, meaning Trick Williams, the TNA champion, Joe Hendry, and Mike Santana will be in the 6-man tag on Tuesday against Dark State. Because Ava was grilling Trick Williams like, yo, you had something to do with that, didn't you? No, I didn't. You remember they attacked me, right? Ava like, so fucking what? Y'all soon. She ain't say that, but she was like, I ain't got no more drink, but I'm you know. But yeah, that's what's going on. So again, I probably will be watching NXT live because of the fact that I want to watch MLB All-Star games. It looks intriguing this year. But again, we never know. Never say never, baby. But yeah. Alright, so yeah, that was done. That was announced. And because you know they gotta keep the crowd moving. But we get to the NXT title. I like this match. It gave me 80s vibes, even though I already said that Ethan Page and Ricky Saints was like the match of the day. But close second, honorable mention, Obafemi versus Yoshiki Anamura. I don't know who the hell Anamura is. Because again, I don't watch NXT like that. But we're out in the street. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah. Y'all gotta be with me when I'm writing these notes. This is crazy. Because it's like, alright, Mike Rome. We gotta talk about Mike Rome, the ring announcer. He Alright, he was ring announcing the whole match, but it's funny how they focus on these ring announcers when it comes to the main title. That it's like, yo, what the hell are y'all doing? You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. So they focus, you know what I'm saying? They pan the camera on Mike Rome, who basically got demoted. But I digress. Who in the blue hell does his hair? This dude got cotton candy hair now. What are they? Man, I don't know if this is a rip or whatever, but they said, let's get the Mike Rome. So, you know, whenever they get to the main title, mostly men's, they gotta really focus on the ring announcer. Why didn't they do that shit for the Soul Ruka Izzy Dame match? No, they just focus on competitors. But whenever it get to like the main title, like again, mostly men. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't trying to be sexist, ladies, but this is what happens when, you know what I'm saying, when you find out about mainly men's titles. And this was not the main event, by the way. You know what I'm saying? This was not the main event. So miss me with the bullshit. But the point of the matter is, Mike Rome looked like he had a cotton candy ice cream cut. Who the fuck styles his hair? Anyway, get back to the match. Get to the match. You know what I'm saying? Powerhouse versus Powerhouse. Although I gotta get that Booker T for something. It was like, oh, just me. He does his little catchphrases and all that. But he's like, yo, I know Mora gotta be about 300 pounds, so he's not gonna be manhandled by Oba Femi. Like, Inamura weighs 240. He's around my size right now. Powerhouse moves, yeah, we'll get to that, but we just at the intros. Inamura was listed at 242 pounds. I mean, I'm 238 now, but the point of the matter is like, yo. And Obafemi is 310. Solid 310, by the way. You got it, you know what I'm saying? He chiseled, y'all. You know what I'm saying? And no, I don't go that way. But I appreciate when a nigga chisel. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm trying to get chiseled. Shoot, I lost all this weight. But anyway, enough about me. Classic start to the match. You know what I'm saying? It gave 80s vibes. You know what I'm saying? Test of strength and all that. It's like headlock, Irish whip to the rope. Nobody's going down. You know what I'm saying? It's big man versus big man. Even though Inamura, you know what I'm saying? Inamura is bigger than what they listed him at, but it's easy. But you know, Obafemi, the story was this. He figured that he could drop respect. He's respectful towards Inamura because he was like, "Yo, I'm gonna beat you, but I'm gonna beat you honorably. I'm not gonna take shortcuts and none of that shit. It's gonna be a respectful match, but I'm gonna win." So Obafemi was like, all right, cool. You do this, you know what I'm saying? Face versus face. So Obafemi, you know what I'm saying? He's dropping Inamura, you know what I'm saying? Almost countlessly. You know what I'm saying? 1, 2, 0. 1, 2, 0. But it's like, it almost seemed like Inamura was Samoan or some shit, but you know what I'm saying? He's Japanese. But it's like Obafemi drops him a couple of times, near falls, but Inamura's popping up. He's not showing no fatigue and none of that. It's like, you're going to have to do more than just drop me and beat me. Strong style. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, Shinsuke Inamura. But And the crowd, not the crowd, but Joseph Graves and Book T, they mentioned that it's like, yo, it's Japanese strong style. It's not. It's, he's not an opponent that Obafemi is used to. So action spills to the outside. You know what I'm saying, for a little while. Then it goes back to the inside. Not really mentioned, but a key point in this match, you know what I'm saying, one of them, Inamura lifts Obafemi up for like a it's like a spin. How modified airplane spin is just that I say modified because of the fact that Inamura didn't have Obafemi over his head for airplane spin. He just had him on his chest for, you know, airplane spin power slam. Near fall, of course. 1, 2, 0. And then it just when I say this, it's nothing bad. When I say it devolved, I'm just mentioning that it was, you know what I'm saying, it just went to the basics. I'm not saying nothing bad about this match. So when I say it devolved into a back and forth powerhouse match, I'm just saying is that they were striking, they hitting each other, you know what I'm saying, making it enjoyable. It was, you know, again, this was a good match overall. So after the near falls, it just went to, you know what I'm saying, striking big man shit. So that's what I mean when I say it devolved. Good match. You know what I'm saying? Counters, you know what I'm saying? They had back and forth counters, they had back and forth reversals. It's like, yo, it's one of those big man matches that they used to have like back in the 80s and like early 90s. You know what I'm saying? This is what happens when Shawn Michaels runs a promotion. But anyway, counters, reversals, and near falls. It was a lot of that going on. And then big spot in the match where Yoshiki Inamura, and he was trying this all day during the match, but he didn't get it because it was, again, counters and reversals. But he ended up doing it about like the third time around with the delayed German suplex. He hit a nice one, almost like Chad Gable with the Chaos Theory, you know. If we was compared to like the main roster, he hits it near fall, and then there was another spot in the match where it was like they're trying they damnness not to run into the referee, but eventually there was a ref bump. Now, backtracking for a minute, because Josh Briggs, who was at ringside for Inamura, he's telling him, you got to win this belt by any means necessary. And Inamura's like, nah, I'm winning this with honor. You know what I'm saying? Real face right there. Real face action. So that basically was telling you that Josh Briggs is going to turn heel, if he wasn't heel already. But to illustrate my point, Briggs interferes. It's like Obafemi is about to prepare for his fall from grace finisher, and he was too close to the rope. Josh Briggs grabs the NXT title and smashes him on his upper back. You know, so, and Inamura is oblivious to the whole thing, so he figures it's like, all right, Oba's weak. Let me get him. Yeah, fall. And now Inamura's cooking. He hits a sick ass sit-up power bomb. Now, mind you, He's 240 whatever. And over Femi's 310. Near fall. I mean serious near fall. Let's 1, 2. Oh shit. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, alright, Over gets up from that. You know, more strikes is being blown. And then Oba hits him with the fall from Garrett. Hits him with the fall from Grace. 1, 2, 3. Oba Femi, the ruler, is still, NXT champion. Good ass match. Good ass match. Now, like I said, I love shenanigans. You know what I'm saying? I still think that the Paige and Saints match was like the match of the day. I'll be watching on YouTube to see who can prove me wrong. It is what it is. But yeah, man. Good ass match though. Solid match from those two. And I would love to see it. I would love to see another one. And it looked like that was the case as we segue into the backstage interview with Sarah Schreiber and Oba Femi. He was like, I feel bad. I feel bad that, you know what I'm saying, the Anamura lost, but somebody had to win. You know what I'm saying? He was like, basically, he was like, I had to beat him, you know. But shouts to him. Basically, he was shouting Anamura out like, we can run it back. Like, we can run it back. But of course, jealous ass Josh Briggs, he was like, and this was after Anamura was like, he was like, excuse him, I don't know why he did that. And Oba Femi's like, nah, don't worry, me and you, we can run it back. You know what I'm saying? You deserve it. You know what I'm saying? Good dudes, you know what I'm saying? Good dudes talking, but then Josh Briggs had to fuck it up. No, you don't have no honor. You know, the full heel shit. It's just that it won't be official until probably Tuesday or whatever. Oh, did I mention that Josh Briggs is about to fight Oba Femi on Tuesday on NXT? Y'all enjoy it if y'all want to. I'll be watching the All-Star game, goddammit. But that's what's gonna happen. And then we get to the main event, which is Fatal Influence. That being Fallon Henley and the NXT Women's Champion, the most beatable champion on the roster, JC Jane, versus the team of Jordan Grace and Blake Monroe, TNA and AEW Unite. Yeah, I had to say it. But alright, we just gonna keep it tools. You know what I'm saying? Because this is how the crowd kept it tools. They wanted nothing to do with Fatal Influence. Not at all. Fuck them bitches. That's what they said. No, that's not what they said. But but they did get mad heat. More so JC Jane than the other two females who basically get their heat later on in the match. You know? Jordan Grace and Blake Monroe, they got decent pops, not overwhelming, because again, they just got there. So it's like, you know, I put down that JC Jane got more heat than the show and got the most heat on the show because she did. Don't nobody like this bitch. But anyway, standard tag match, you know what I'm saying, is they, again, Shawn Michaels all over the place. You know what I'm saying? There was points where I can go quickly through this, not because it's a bad match. No, it was a good match. But what haven't I seen in 40 years that this really stood out for? JC James distracts the ref. Jasmine Nix, because they are a 3-woman faction, she's ringside and decides to put herself in it. If you really want to put yourself in it, fight, bitch. You know what I'm saying? That's what, you know what I'm saying? It's what it is. You know? So she interferes from the outside. That's what created near falls on, first of all, Blake Monroe. You know what I'm saying? And let me just sidebar it on Blake Monroe. She is nice. You know what I'm saying? Sorry I missed it in AEW. I was too focused on WWE. But anyway, Grace tags in. You know, she does some hot shit. It was, you know what I'm saying? When they tried to Fallon Henley and Jason Jane tried to double suplex Jordan Grace, and then she ends up double suplexing them. Good reversal. It was like a fake, you know what I'm saying? It was like a counter Irish whip, and then she grabs them both. You know what I'm saying? She reverses, and then it was a sweet ass double suplex. I can't front. You know? Near fall, of course. And then it was like eventually Fatal Influence cutting off the ring. You know what I'm saying? Making sure they did that with both Blake Monroe and Jordan Grace. So it was like, it wasn't one of those tag matches where it was like one face in peril. Both of them was in peril at one point. So, and that's what I wrote down. And then Blake Monroe gets a hot tag for, like, you know what I'm saying? She did a thing, you know what I'm saying? She got a shit in. How they like to say it. How they like to say it, that's what they do. They get their shit in. And for the second time on the stream, if you want to do this, do that. Just saying. And if you say that I sent you, you might get some extra. If that. But back to the match. Where I'm at with this. Oh yeah, brief comeback. And then Jasmine Nix back at it again. She don't know when to stick her nose out of people's business. And then I put Fallon Henley was impressive because I don't watch much NXT, but I know who's improved, and one of them females is Fallon Henley. You know what I'm saying? She came in like Miss Elizabeth, and now she fighting like Mickie James. Let me just put it there. For real. Because when she first started, I looked at her like she was gonna be a valet. Valet, nothing more, nothing less. And she could fight. Because when she was in the ring, she was kicking ass. You know? Near fall after the Spear of Grace. That was Fallon that did that. Was it? It might have been James, but don't matter. Fallon Henley was impressive in the match. And then, oh no, that was Fallon. Now I'm catching my notes. But then it was hot tag, well, dual tags. You know what I'm saying? Then it was like Blake Monroe and JC Jane fighting each other. You know what I'm saying? And it was going decent. It was back and forth. But then Jasmine fucking Nix again. Somebody needs to take this bitch out of the ring. It's like, eject her ass. The referee was not doing it. But you know who did do it? Masha Slamovich. Yeah. The odds were even. Who's Masha Slamovich? Do you ask? Well, she ain't nobody important. Just the TNA Knockouts champion. Time to even the odds. So she comes in out of nowhere and starts beating Jasmine Nix's ass, clearing her from the action. And now It's a standing match. No more interruptions. So after Slavovich removes Jasmine Nix out of the equation, now all four women that's participants in the match, they're in the ring. Let's beat the fuck out of each other. Let's go. So they fighting, and then half of it spills out with Blake Monroe and JC Jane. No, Jordan Grace and Fallon Henley are out of the ring. Monroe and Jane are in the ring. They're legal. They're legal women. You know? So they're fighting, and excuse me. Jane performs an O'Connor role on Blake Monroe. But Monroe kicks out, and because they were in the position they were in, the kick out by Blake Monroe basically runs JC Jane into the ropes, where Jordan Grace hits a fucking sick ass super kick to her, and then Blake Monroe hits a Mankind DDT. I put double arm DDT, but it was like half Mankind, half Dean Ambrose dirty deeds. But it worked. Blake Monroe hits the Mankind dirty deeds on on JC Jane for the pin. Blake Monroe has pinned the NXT Women's Champion on the Great American Bash. Why is that? Why does that have to be emphasized? It's because Jordan Grace is facing JC Jane for the NXT Women's Championship tonight on Evolution. Who knows going to be brought up? You know what I'm saying? It could be one of those tropes where, well, you couldn't get the job done without the. I'm projecting right now. I might be talking to my ass right now. However, good production. You know what I'm saying? The story is gonna tell itself within the next few weeks or a few months. I don't know when the next NXT, I think, no, August 24th, that's going to be the next NXT set. Well, y'all got a storyline. But right now, the show ended with Blake Monroe and Jordan Grace dapping it up, hugging it out, and posing on turnbuckles. That's how the NXT Great American Bash ended. And let's see what happens at Evolution tonight. Now, that's all I got for you right now as far as that pay-per-view is concerned. But I got to get back to watching like the rest of. It's like I caught the rest of Saturday night's main event. I did watch the whole show. However, I didn't note it down. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna get back to it and get all my notes ready so I can bless y'all with the next live for that. And again, once I do that, then I'll be watching Evolution tonight, and I got y'all either most likely my interesting shit that happened at Evolution is gonna be broadcast tomorrow. But I'm gonna see y'all later for Saturday night's main event. And it's like shit was crazy there. But like I said, shouts to everybody. You know what I'm saying? Shouts to the one person that peeked in and peeked out. Shouts to people that's gonna be watching on the playback. Hopefully I see a lot of y'all. But it is what it is with me. You know what I'm saying? Thanks for drinking with me. Thanks for watching with me. You know what I'm saying? watching me, period. But I got y'all later on. Say next main event. Don't know when, but it should be done. It should be today. But look for me today for Say next main event, and look for me definitely tomorrow at the latest for Evolution. So, all I got for this. Thanks for tuning in. Interesting-ish shit. Damn it, interesting shit that happened at NXT, the Great American Bash. It was a good show. Hopefully y'all thought the same thing, and I'll holler at y'all later too.